ironies and baroque flourishes that Thornby always felt it resembled a vast and sickly hedgehog. He approached the northern entrance at the back of the house. A month ago, the doorway here had been graced by a fine white marble portico, but it had been sold to pay some unavoidable debt of father's. The doorway now looked naked and a little surprised, like a man caught with his trousers down. As Thornby grabbed the cheap new iron handrail to spring up the cheap new sandstone steps, he noticed the blurred scrawl on the back of his hand. Leave. Daylight seemed to fall away and the air grow thin, as if the shadow of the hall was set on stifling him. Nausea swept over him and his legs turned to water. He dropped to a crouch on the steps, tugging at his tight cravat. Back at the hall. For the 1000th time. Back to put a lid on an inkwell. The very banality of the reasoning turned his blood to ice. Because he'd been trying to leave the estate for 1.5 years. He'd tried everything. He tried walking across the boundary in an ordinary way. He tried riding across, but no matter which horse he took, the creature always refused. He'd tried crawling across in the mud, as if by abasing himself he might be let go. He'd tried flinging himself across, screaming. Sometimes he told himself he felt no more than one of the statues in the park. His heart was marble, his mind was marble, he would walk and not stop. But nothing worked. Nothing. Every time he found himself turning and walking back, for some trivial reason like a lidless inkwell. He was trapped, as effectively as if an invisible wall surrounded the estate. His throat was closing so tight it might choke him. A harsh sob of rage and frustration escaped, and he gritted his teeth against one another. A tear fell hot on the back of his hand. He would claw his own skin off to get away. Not just from Raskelf, but from himself, from the stupid, weak self that couldn't walk across a field. Father claimed to have the power to let him go, if he married money as father wished. But Thornby loathed his father, and trusted him less than a footpad in a dark alley. And if he swallowed his pride and did as he was told, could father really free him? Or would Thornby merely have involved some innocent girl in his ghastly predicament? Father hinted often enough that it was weakness of character that kept Thornby here. Father had forbidden him to leave, and deep down, so deep Thornby couldn't acknowledge it, he must want to obey, and so he did. But surely it couldn't be that. Thornby had no trouble disobeying his father in every other aspect of his life. In fact, it gave him a grim satisfaction. He was 27, not a child to take his father's word as law. So why? Why could he not walk across a field and escape? If it wasn't weakness of character, could it be to do with magnetism? Mesmerism? He'd heard of Elliotson's remarkable experiments, making ladies tell the future or dance and sing. He couldn't remember being mesmerized, but perhaps that was part of the trick. He knew what some of the servants and the village people thought. He'd seen the sideways looks, the fingers crossed in a sign to ward off black magic. And of course he'd heard rumours over the years about devil worship and magicians who summoned spirits. But surely that was all flummery, tricks to fool the credulous. Some people might believe in it, even practice it, but magic was not a real enough force to hold an educated man against his will. And in any case, father was no magician. Was he? Yet sometimes, in the dark hours of the night, when sleep would not come and reason grew fevered, there seemed no other explanation. 1.5 years ago, Thornby had been sipping Madeira in the sitting room of his Mayfair house. Between sips he'd been reading aloud an art review in the Times for the edification of a recent acquaintance, an amusing fellow with